Hey guys, it's Marianne here with Shopping Crafty. So today is the second of many Financial Freedom Book Club collab videos. I was invited to do this by Rebecca at Long Term Lottery. She was the one who created this whole series for the book club and I love it so much. I'm so glad she invited me. So the book of this month is, of course, the thing that started it all, Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. Our channels wouldn't exist, any of us, I'm pretty sure, if it weren't for this book. So it's a big deal. And I'm sure for the vast majority of us, maybe I'm wrong, we will have already have read it because, again, that's why we have a channel to begin with. So this book is definitely a must read, in my opinion, if you are trying to get out of debt. It is my go-to. It is a book I reread when I need inspiration. So I'm so excited that we're doing this one because it seems like so obvious, but I think it's necessary to start off this book club with this one. So Dave Ramsey, you've maybe heard of him. He created baby steps for not just for getting out of debt, but for financial freedom and building wealth and preparing for retirement, everything. And it is wonderful. So the first half of the book, first disclaimer, I actually have the workbook version of this, so I'm not sure how different it is from just the other book, just the Total Money Makeover. I think it's almost exactly the same. I think mine just has some extra worksheets and stuff in it, but I may be wrong. There may be more information in the other one, which I've looked through that one before, but I don't know off the top of my head if it's verbatim, everything is the same. So if you don't know, the Dave Ramsey system, it has, I think, 7, 8 baby steps, something like that, to get you to prosperity. And it starts off really simply with saving $1,000 in an emergency fund, which a lot of people will negate that and say, no, you need to have more than that, which is a valid opinion unless you are actually really buried in debt. Because honestly, it took me over a year just to get past baby step 0, a non-existent step. So the idea of having $10,000 just set aside before I even start, that would take me 40 plus years if I was just sending $20 a month into an account for savings. This is a book for people that are buried in debt and can barely make ends meet. And when you can barely make ends meet, you can't set aside $10,000. You just can't. I owed money to the IRS. They were starting to come after me. I couldn't set aside $10,000. But now I am on the path to getting out of debt, and then I'll be able to set aside that money every month, and it will be amazing. So to me, $1,000 is amazing because it's a sense of achievement when you do that. Because if you aren't accustomed to saving money, $1,000 is a lot to just have sitting there and not use. And it's a big part of changing your mindset about money. So I think it's an essential first step for people who don't know how to manage money. If you know how to manage money and you have a little bit to spare, yeah, go ahead, have more enough savings. Also, if you have a family that you need to support, yeah, a bigger savings is more important. For me, I'm single, and I have multiple sources of income, so it's not like I can lose my job. I can just make less one month than another month, but I mean, I work online, I have random jobs that come in, I have babysitting, I have serving, even if one of those falls off, I can just up another one, and so there's always a little bit of equilibrium. So for me, $1,000 is good for now. If you have other opinions, let me know below, but that's just my 2 cents. Because I feel like that's the biggest issue I ever hear when people talk about the Dave Ramsey steps. So I don't know if I'm even gonna she has questions. So did this book offer you an aha moment? Yes. And this also goes with a question she asked about, is there a passage that stands out to you? For me, the thing that always got me really excited when reading this book was a passage about cars. And the way this book works, it's like you get halfway through. Like, this is how far you get through before you even get to the baby steps. Because it's just going through basics of money management and like myths and things that people might, like arguments people might bring up to refute his opinions, and he's justifying why these are his opinions. But yeah, the thing that always got me, let me see if I can find it. 1 second. It's case study, The Amazing Free Car, and it has a breakdown of, okay, most Americans pay $400 a month for a car payment for an expensive car, and they pay towards it, not thinking about the interest, and they just think they'll always have a car payment. And his argument is that if you just buy a cheaper car, like $1,000, $2,000 car, and put that $400 a month into an investment, it will grow to, I don't know, like, what is it? If you invest only $200 each month at 10% for 7 years, which is like the typical car loan length, it will grow to $24,000. That's so much money, and that's more than what you probably paid for the car. So then you can take from that $24,000 however much you need for another car and keep putting just $200, not even $400, $200 a month in that, and it will just keep compounding interest and growing, and you take out money for a cheaper car, and it grows and grows until you can buy brand new cars if you want to with the money you have, and still be saving up enough to buy another brand new car by the time that car like breaks down, which is going to take a long time, especially if it's a brand new car. But you shouldn't buy a brand new car, buy a 2-year-old car, because cars are ridiculous, and like in a year they lose half their value. Or I'm exaggerating, maybe I'm not, I don't know what I'm talking about, that's why I need a book. But anyway, that is the passage that has always got me so excited about managing money and realizing, like, even just with my small income, I can retire with money. I can retire and live off of the money I have saved up, and that is amazing, because honestly, I didn't know if I could, because I'm pursuing acting, and a lot of people don't think you can have both. They don't think you can retire wealthy and pursue acting, because it's not a steady job, and you never know how much money you're going to be making. Maybe you need all of your income, but Dave Ramsey has convinced me otherwise. I'm going to retire with money. Yes. Another thing that I found funny in this book was he was asking a bunch of questions like, how do you feel about talking about money? And it's just funny to me because it's like, well, the way I am on YouTube is very different. Like, obviously I like talking about it. I have a whole YouTube channel about it, because he asked, like, do you like talking when somebody asks how you're doing financially, when an accountant calls and says let's meet? Like, when an accountant calls, no, I do not want to talk about money. With you guys, I want to talk about money, because you guys are my inspiration, and other YouTubers are my inspiration. But like an actual financial representative, I am still completely intimidated by. So I guess I need to work through that. Also, this is the first time going through this book that I have finished baby step 1, which is really, really cool. I've been reading this book for years, and I only now have made that progress, but I am excited, and I am on baby step 2, which was just exciting because I hadn't even thought about it, and it's like, oh, this is like, this chapter is done. I have done this. And the thing is, baby step 1, I honestly think is like 3 baby steps, because when you're really breaking it down, baby step 1 in my mind is starting to budget. Baby step 2 is getting current on all payments, because that took me a while. Baby step 3 is saving $1,000. His baby steps are kind of giant steps to me. But that's like such a technicality, it doesn't matter. But that's always been like my small thing. It's like, I'm not even on baby step 1 and I've been doing this for a year. But oh well. And baby step 2, again, like getting out of debt is just one baby step. And like, that's such a huge thing. That's such a huge accomplishment. But it's just baby step 2 on the journey of your life, which maybe someday looking back, I'll be like, oh yeah, that was just baby step 2. But to me, every single time I pay off a debt, every single time I make a payment towards debt, it's a step. It's a baby step. And it's just like a more motivating factor. It's just like the debt snowball where it's like every time you knock out a debt, it's more motivating. So it's like every time I do a little step, it's motivating. And so it's not like, oh, I still haven't finished baby step 2. It's like, no, these are all like, I don't know, like tiny baby steps to get to the big baby step. I think they're not baby steps. They're like grown-up steps. And then there's little baby steps within the grown-up steps. But this is, again, ridiculous. Okay. Another aha moment for me actually came because I read this book years ago. It must be like 3 or 4 years ago. It was when my sister's dog was a puppy. That's all I remember, because I was puppy sitting at her place and she had it on the coffee table because she's obsessed with it. She's on the step where she's paying off her mortgage. So she has so much progress on me, but she is inspiring to me, so that's good. And so I flipped through it. I read a lot of it because it's a quick read, which is really nice about it too, because you can go back to it. And I was like, yeah, this actually sounds doable. Again, like the car thing, like blew my mind. And the $1,000 sounds easy. It's not, but it sounded easy. And it wasn't like, I started like trying to budget then and reading more articles and stuff, but I think it still took me until a while later when she bought me the workbook for my birthday. And I was flipping through it, which is why I like the workbook, because it has all the documents. And again, the allocated spending plan, it's actually funny because I realize he says explicitly, like, only use this if you aren't on an irregular income. But that is the only sheet I actually use on an irregular income, because I saw it and I was like, that makes sense to my brain. And I've shown in other videos like how I budget an irregular income, and coming in the new year, I'm gonna start recording like from above. I don't have the equipment for it yet. I'm hoping to get it for Christmas because I'm broke. Otherwise, you know, I'm just saving up to buy it. But I'm gonna start showing it more close up so you guys can see more in detail how the allocated spending plan, how I've adjusted it to be my irregular income plan. So I will do that. But yeah, that's another document that was like an aha, like this will work, because it's hard doing it with an irregular income. It's so hard. And that works for me. And yeah, so he has his other ways that he says to do irregular income, but that doesn't matter. You know, like, do what works for you. This is more guidelines than actual rules, to quote Pirates of the Caribbean. Anyway, this has gone on long enough, I think. Let me see if there's any other questions. Sorry, I'm going out of frame to read questions. 1 second. Okay, what do you do differently having read this book was a question. Or what will you do differently, but I've read the book before. So the answer to that is everything. I literally do everything differently after having read this book. I spend money differently, I eat differently, I have fun differently, I socialize differently, I work differently. I got a whole other job because of this, and I hustled to find work from home jobs because of this. Like, my whole life is different. I live completely differently because of this book, and I highly recommend it, and I suspect that the reviews on the other channels will be the same. We'll see. All right. Thanks again to Long Term Lottery for inviting me Of course, all of the links to other channels that are participating in collab will be below. Please check them out. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to me. Please. Thank you. I will talk to you again soon. Bye.